Hello, my most amazing artists. Hi, fourth grade. Welcome back to another video. We are starting a new project. Now that we're done with our monochromatic self-portraits, we're moving right into Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead is celebrated on October 31st in Mexico, and there's all kinds of really cool traditions that go along with Dia de los Muertos. There is a video attached to the classroom, it's also on YouTube, that goes through the whole holiday of Dia de los Muertos, and I need you to watch that first. It's called Day of the Dead. So you can either go to my YouTube channel to watch that, or it's posted in the classroom. So that gets watched first. If you've already done that, then we can continue on. In fourth grade, we explored Dia de los Muertos by looking at some sugar skulls. Now, we made sugar skull sculptures last year in third grade, but this year we're focusing more on the design elements of sugar skulls. And we're going to be focusing on a big word called symmetry. Symmetry means balance, and that's one of our elements and principles of art. It's one of our principles. It's some of that sugar and spice that's thrown into our artwork to make it extra special. So we'll be focusing on balance and symmetry. And we're focusing on all those beautiful designs that are put into a sugar skull that are iconic, and that's how we know they're sugar skulls. So this will be kind of the end product of what we're making. Today is step one, which is our planning process. There'll be multiple parts to this video, so don't move ahead until you're ready. If you're working on this from home, in the future, you will need to get some colored Sharpies. I did not send that home in your kit because I don't have enough to send home. So if you're able to, that would be very helpful. Otherwise, you can just color in the design that you made on this piece of paper. Today, what we're going to need is this piece of paper, our planning sheet. And like I said, if you don't have colored pencils or colored Sharpies for this step, you could just use this as your final. But if you got colored Sharpies, it makes a really cool shiny effect. So you'll need this piece of paper, we'll need this idea sheet so that we can kind of get some inspiration. And then we'll also put together our tinfoil piece. So in your kit, I sent home a glue stick, a Sharpie, a black Sharpie, and a piece of tinfoil and a piece of tag board. So we'll need these two things and the glue stick as well today. But first, we're going to start off by talking about our design process and that big word symmetry. So you will need a pencil, this piece of paper, and this paper to begin. So go ahead and gather those up and let's get started. So sugar skulls are a popular thing used in Day of the Dead as an offering on the ofrendas. Traditionally, sugar skulls are made out of pure sugar and they're decorated with cake icing. We, of course, make decorative sugar skulls. We do not make the actual ones you can eat. But I want to focus for this lesson really on the design elements present in this sugar skull. You'll see that a lot of them have the same features and same kind of design areas throughout each one. So we're focusing on symmetry. Symmetry means that if I was to cut this skull completely down the middle on this red line and fold it in half, it would be exactly the same on both sides. It would be identical or pretty close. So for example, I have this red line down the middle of this and I can see that it is a mirror image on the other side. There's flowers on each cheek. There's designs around the outsides of the eyes. There is a heart in the center that is symmetrical because if I folded it in half, it would be the same. So one of the things that we are focusing on is making sure that our design for our skull is symmetrical and as close to being the same as possible. So this is just one example of a finished skull, and here I have a whole bunch of different skulls. I sent this paper home with you. This is not intended for you to copy, but for you to kind of look at for inspiration. Some things I noticed that a lot of these have in common are flower motifs. A lot of these use flowers as a decoration or decorative tool, or swirls, or different types of shapes. We are going to be looking for some commonalities on what we need to add on our sugar skulls to make sure that we have enough decoration and to make sure that we're symmetrical. So on this piece of paper, I want you to join me in writing down a list. This is a checklist to make sure you have all the things that you need to have on your sugar skull. So our first thing I'm going to write down is eyes. And you want to write this right next to here because this is going to remind us what we need to do. We can check it off as we draw it on here. So eyes. If I'm looking at the eyes of all these sugar skulls, besides this bottom row, I'm going to kind of block that one out. all of them have some form of detail around the eyes. Some of them even have detail on the inside of the eyes. They could have like rounded edges, they could be more spiky edges, they could just be circles. I mean, you have to have something around the eyes. For example, this one has flowers on the inside, a ring around the outside, and some spiky petals. So eyes have to be on our checklist. The next thing I want to put on my checklist is a nose. We just have a normal nose here, and the same on these ones, but I want to kind of look at this purple one here. It's got that same kind of design around the eyes as it has around the nose. Same for this one. We want to add some kind of detail around our nose. So the next thing's going to be on here is nose. The next thing we're looking at is I'm noticing a lot of details all over these skulls, but each of them have some kind of focal point in the center of the forehead. Some of them are a little more detailed and some are a little more simple. So we're going to write forehead. So right now on our list, eyes, we're going to use some detail around or inside of the eyes. Nose, some kind of detail around the nose. And forehead, something in the center of the forehead as the focal point. There's 3 more things we're going to add to this list. The next thing I'm going to write down are cheeks. You'll notice in all of these sugar skulls there's some form of design on the cheeks. There's curved teardrops, flowers, swirls, dots, all kinds of different things. So we need to have something on each cheek. 2 more things left. We're going to write down side of head. You'll notice on all of these, not only is there a focal point in the center, but they fill up some of that extra space on the head by adding some details on each side of the head. All of them kind of have something filling up that space. Here's you got swirls filling up the side of the head. These ones have flowers showing. So we need something on the sides of our head to kind of fill that space in. You'll notice that some of these have like eyebrow details. You could totally add that if you want to, but that's not on our checklist, so you don't have to. The last one is going to be a chin detail. All of these have some kind of detail along the chin area, and they can be rather simple or a little bit more complicated. But something is on the jaw and the chin, so I'm going to write down chin. So this is my checklist of everything that needs to have design on my skull. Eyes, nose, forehead, cheek, side of head, and chin. So that should be written down to keep us as a reminder, and as we draw them, we can check them off the list. The next step is we need to draw our line of symmetry. You can do this really lightly because this is not going to be on our final. It's just here to remind us where the center is. So I start at the top of the heart-shaped nose, and I just make a line as straight as I can up to the top, and it's pretty light. If you have a ruler, you can use a ruler. Then I'm going to go from this part of my nose, it's going to go straight down and split it in half. So now I know that whatever's on this half of the face has to be on this half of the face. And one thing you want to be very careful of is when we're working, you're trying to keep it as symmetrical as possible. So you're trying to keep your shapes the same size and the same number of shapes. So for bumps exactly, maybe you want to try to get the same amount of bumps around the eye as you do on the other side. So I'm going to start off with decorating my one half. You might find it easier to do both halves on one side at the same time, but I'm going to go ahead and start working on something for my eyes. I recommend kind of making your details big and not too teeny tiny, because it's a lot easier to replicate on the other side if you use bigger details. So instead of doing super small petals, I kind of made them a little bigger. I can also add some details inside of these petals. And then maybe I'll add something on the inside just for fun. So I'm going to put a heart on the inside. Now I want to do the same thing over here on this side. So I'm going to add that heart right away. Try to make it close to the same size. And before I get to the petals, maybe I should start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so I'm going to try to get 10 petals, or close to 10, around the same size. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now you don't have to do petals around your eyes. You could do a different shape, a different design. You could do spiky things around the eyes. It's really up to you. You can put something in the center of your eyes, or you can leave them empty, but you need to have some kind of detail around the eyes for sure. So my eyes are done. I'm going to check that off my checklist. Let's move on to the nose. I could do like a bumpy design around my nose. I could do some like other things. I think I might go with like a circle outline around my nose. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to leave that one alone, so we're going to do 6 on this side. 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Nose can be checked off. Forehead. I want to do something kind of cool in my forehead. I think I'm going to do like a peace sign. I want to try to pick something that I know can be symmetrical. A flower would be good. A heart would be good. I think a peace sign would be good too, because that is a symmetrical symbol. I'm going to draw a circle, make it the best I can, make it as even as I can. If you have a circle template, you could use that. Again, you can do all kinds of different things for the center of your forehead. It does not need to be a circle, does not need to be a heart, doesn't need to be a flower. It just needs to be something that you can fold in half and it'll be symmetrical. So I'm going to make a peace sign. I think that'd be fun. There we go. Peace and love. And I want to make my peace sign a little more exciting, so maybe I'll add some triangles around it so it looks like a sun, but it has a peace in the center. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pretty close. All right, we can check off forehead. That detail is done. Cheeks. I think I'm going to do something pretty simple. I was going to do some curved lines on my cheeks. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And side of the head. I'm going to do some flowers on the side of the head. So I'm going to do some curves on the side and add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some flowers, and maybe I'll add like a leaf coming out of the sides here. Got to pay attention to where those leaves are so they are symmetrical. Can check that off my list. The last thing left on my list is the cheeks. So I think I'm going to do some kind of fun, funky flower too. I'm going to stick with my flower power theme. So I've got a circle on the bottom that can be split in half. I'll have one petal here that's split in half, and then we'll do one on this side, one on this side, one on this side, one on this side. And I think I'll add, there's a little extra space, and I kind of want to fill it up, some hearts. Now I have a little extra area over here, so if I wanted to, I could add some extra details, and I think I just might do that. This is not on my checklist, but I have this big open area, and I kind of want to fill my skull up as much as possible with my details. So I think I'm going to do something like that. So now I have my whole checklist done. Once you're done with this and you have your checklist done, the next step is we can erase the line of symmetry. And I'm going to outline all of my little details so that I have them ready. So I'm going to outline this and I'll be right back and we'll talk about what we're going to do next with our tinfoil and our paper. Okay, so I have finished outlining everything on my sugar skull. It's all outlined and it's ready for the next step. So I'm going to put this away for now. We're not coming back to this until the next video is posted in a week or two. So this can just go away and just be held on to. So I'm going to put this to the side. So don't lose this. Hold on to it because you're going to need it for part 2 of the project. To wrap up part 1, we are just going to make our tinfoil piece. So I've got my tinfoil here. trying to keep it as flat as possible. If you mess up your tin foil that I put in your kit, I'm sure you have some around your house you can use. So I need my tin foil and I need my paper. All right, so you need your glue stick. And the first thing we're gonna do is I'm laying my tag board right on top of my tin foil. And I'm gonna use my glue stick to create a frame. So I'm going along the edge of my paper, covering the top, bottom, and sides. And then I'm going to make an X in the middle that goes from one corner to the other, like this. Now I can carefully lift up my paper. I'm going to flip it and lay it down onto my tin foil, and I'm going to smooth it out. I usually start in the middle and I move my hand out to the edges to make sure that it is all stuck down. The next part of this is like wrapping up a Christmas present. So we're going to be folding all the edges over, and we need to put some glue for them to stick. So I'm going to do one edge at a time. It's easier to do one edge at a time because then you don't have to worry about your glue drying before you get to the other sides. I put it along the top, and I'm going to peel back the top layer of my tin foil, and I'm pulling it back until it kind of is taut against the top of the edge of my paper, so I have a nice flat edge, and then I'm going to fold it down and smooth it out. So I have a nice clean edge, and it kind of lines up with the top of my paper. I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to do this side next. I can even go on top of this part of the tin foil all the way across. And same thing, I'm peeling back this layer, pulling it until I cannot pull it anymore. You can be a little bit gentle, but you want to make sure that it's tight against the edge of your paper. And you fold it just like that. Turn it again. You can put a little glue on top of the tin foil, pull it across. Pull this piece back until it's tight up against the paper. Try to make it as smooth as possible. Smooth it out. Turn this over here. Put some glue on it. It goes all the way across. This is the last edge. Pull it tight and smooth it. Now I know you're at home, but you can still write your name on your artwork in this little window. Just like that. Now let's flip it over, and you can use like the soft part of your palms or side of your hand to just kind of smooth out some of the wrinkles. It's not going to be completely smooth, but you just want to kind of get it as smooth as possible. And that's all for this part of the video. So what you should have done today is your drawing and this, and you're going to hold on tight to these until the next video comes out. If you want to, you can snap a picture of what you've drawn already and send it to me via Google Classroom or email. I'd love to see what you make. All right, have fun with this. Remember, it's got to be symmetrical.